Hey, beautiful people. Kamina the Koach here, coming back at you with another video that I rarely talk about this topic because I've been abroad for so long. It just seems like uh, common sense, but it is something that a lot of people have missed the mark on in living abroad. So, this video, we're going to talk about communication and how to make that happen and how to start making that happen before you even make the move to overseas. And forgive the puffy eyes because I have just not too long ago woken up. So, welcome back. So, let's talk about communication. Let's start off first with a VPN. Um, Off the top of my head, even though my degree is in technology, I can't tell you what it stands for, but I can tell you it hides your IP address. IP address is the address of your computer that shows the location where you are and has your computer specific name on it. In a lot of countries, like countries in the Middle East and some countries in Southeast Asia, one big one to be specific is going to firewall just about everything. And if you are a social media junkie or if you're particularly attached to Google, you will find yourself not able to use a lot of those things in these countries if you don't get a VPN. So, um, in China, the VPN that people use is ExpressVPN, and there is another one. I haven't lived in China in a long time, so I can't tell you specifically. So outside of China, what I have found that I really love is unlimited VPN. I paid $20 or $30, and that's for a lifetime subscription. I have it on maybe 6 different devices, and it's pretty amazing, honestly. So there's that. So had to get started with that before I could talk about the other stuff. So in just in every country I've been to, because I've lived in a lot of countries, but I've also visited a lot of countries. Every country I've been to, when I get to the airport, you can buy a SIM at the airport. Now I can't tell you about European countries or highly developed countries. Um, Mostly Middle Eastern, Southeast Asian countries, uh, Mexico also. In the airport, you can get the SIM, or just outside of the airport, you can get the SIM. And what you're going to pay for data and minutes to call people is going to be like pennies on the dollar compared to what you're doing in the United States. Also, most people don't call people overseas, not on a line. Most people use applications. The most popular application worldwide. Now, there are some exceptions for certain countries, but the most popular application to communicate with people overseas is WhatsApp, owned, I guess, by Facebook now. But I've been using it for the entire time I've been overseas, and the British kind of look at you with an eyebrow up when you're like, I don't have WhatsApp. So people all over the world have been using this for a very long time. So, free application WhatsApp. You can send video notes, you can send voice notes, you can send video clips, pictures. For me, I really like it. I'm not a texter, so I can send voice notes really quickly, and it saves my arthritic fingers. So there's also WeChat for China, which is more and more difficult to download if you don't actually live in China. China is almost exclusively QQ and WeChat, and yeah, that's pretty much it for China. And China actually makes all of their purchases through this application. Of course, they're also using it to do quite a bit more governmentally, but it is what it is. So be aware if you make that leap. Um, let's see what else. Viper and there's another one, I'm sure. But so Southeast Asia uses a couple of different ones. But like I said, primarily it's WhatsApp. So, well, what if you need to have your number? If you have elderly people in your family that aren't technologically inclined, or business, if you have business you have to take care of, like credit card bills, collectors, debtors, debitors, stuff like that, what number can you use? So here's the thing. I know people who are paying Sprint and Verizon bills while they're overseas. Guys, please don't do that. This video is more for people who haven't made the transition yet. Get you a Google Voice number. You can port your number over into your Google Voice number. I've had Google Voice number for about 15 years. It rings directly on my phone depending on what country I'm in. and it's just pretty amazing. So I can text people's regular cell phones, send and receive pictures, and I can make calls and receive calls inside of the United States for free. So basically, anybody inside the United States or Canada can call my Google Voice phone whenever they need to. And it has a voicemail as well. So it's really, really handy. All my credit cards, my school, any kind of business I deal with has my Google Voice number. Personally, I find that making calls via Google Voice is much easier because the person that I'm calling doesn't need a Wi-Fi connection as well. So usually it's a much more clear, as long as my connection is decent, it's a much more clear call. So there's no video call. It's just like a voice call. It's similar to if my mobile was calling your mobile, but obviously it's not a mobile. It's a VoIP. If you're not into Google, you don't want to go that route. It's completely free, by the way, unless you want to make international calls. Magic Jack also has a way to do this as well, but it's not free. It's like, I don't know, $20 for the year or something like that. You can use a Magic Jack application that will actually give you a US number as well. My first year overseas, I used Magic Jack, which was important because Google was blocked because I was in China. So I used Magic Jack, and I had the actual connector with an actual phone, but you don't need that anymore these days. And I believe if you're using the application, you won't get an actual number, but I don't know. I haven't tried it in a long time. There is another one, another VoIP, US American VoIP service that I've heard of contractors using. But just so I say all of this to say, there's not really a reason for you to continue to pay a bill with Sprint and Verizon. It's going to be cost you out the wazoo to call back to the United States. And there are just so many other ways to keep in touch, especially if you need a US number. Google Voice is where it's at. So I say for those who haven't left the United States yet, because it's kind of difficult to set up a Google Voice number if you've already left the United States. I don't know what that's about, but it's just much easier to do it if you haven't left the United States yet. So we've covered VoIPs and applications to keep in contact. Skype is not where it's at anymore, guys. Skype is obsolete, although you can use that as well. WhatsApp is probably taking over the market. Oh, you could always use Facebook Messenger as well, but which I don't find to be the greatest connection. Again, because both people are relying on an internet connection. So all kinds of applications to keep in touch. Google Voice number to keep a U.S. number. A Magic Jack to be able to call people U.S. side for a monthly fee. Um, Unlimited VIP, Express VPN, Unlimited VPN, Express VPN, all kinds of VPN services to hide your location and allow you to be able to use the services that you want to use while you're overseas. So these are the kind of ins and outs to being able to communicate while you're abroad. And I hope that that has been useful for you. If you've got some other tips, feel free to leave them down in the comments. If you like this video, please share it, subscribe, hit like. And until next time, Kamina the Koach wishing you love, light, peace, and joy. I'll see you next time, folks.